Welcome back to our community, where our community is your community, as we talk to people here in the community, the business of the Hispanic community, powered by the Hispanic Chamber, hosted by Mr. Orange County himself here, John Gutierrez.
All right, welcome everybody
I'm trying to change it up for you every so often.
Yes, I know you're throwing me off there, right? Yes, folks, welcome again to our community podcast show powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I'm your host, Senior Vice President John Gutierrez, and with us today we have another special guest, Miss Lucy Santana, who's the Chief Executive Officer, the CEO, of course, of Girls Inc. of Orange County. Welcome, Lucy, to the show.
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for being on the show, and this is exciting because Girls Inc. does so much in the community, and we're going to talk with everybody here shortly, of course, all the great programs that Girls Inc. is doing in the community as far as mentorship, as far as, I guess you could also call it, would you call it workforce development, right?
Absolutely.
And just helping them get through their careers, their life. We're going to get into all that great stuff that she's doing at Girls Inc. But first and foremost, we would love our viewers and our listeners to get to know you a little bit. I've had the pleasure to learn that you're from Santa Ana, my hometown, and you grew up in Santa Ana. So if you don't mind sharing a little bit about yourself, that would be great.
Absolutely. Yes. So I was born in Santa Ana, lived for a stint in Anaheim, but really I consider Santa Ana my home. I went to high school there, graduated from Santa Ana High School, so a very proud Santa Ana Saint.
That's right. What year were you there, can I ask?
Do you
Ballpark?
really want to go there?
John, you never asked. You're dating a woman's age.
The reason why I ask is because my brother was there in the 80s when they won the CIF championship.
I was there.
And my brother was on the football team, and his friends were like Richard Fanny and George Toyota and some of these guys. And they had some great football teams and basketball teams during those years. Coach Dick Hill was a famous football coach there that as a kid I grew up also admiring.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's some legends. Santa Ana High School has some legends, right?
I was there during those CIF wins, so that was pretty exciting.
Some great years, right?
Yes, it really was, to go out to the football games and support. That was pretty fun.
Big games against Saddleback High School, right?
Rivalry at its best. Yes.
Yeah, and El Toro High School, too. I remember those games.
Yeah.
Wow. And what do you remember as a young girl in Santa Ana those days, would you say, that changed you, moved you, or impacted you?
I think when I was growing up, I probably didn't realize how it was shaping my life, affecting my life. I had a pivotal moment. As much as I had some really great experiences in high school, I had an experience in high school with a counselor that told me, because I was Latina, because I was a mediocre student, that I probably wasn't going to be college material or anything like that. And rather than letting that determine my life, I really just sought out another counselor. And I know it was somebody who was very near and dear to many people's heart, and that was Mr. John Acuña at Santa Ana High School.
Yes.
Who he was not my counselor, but I went to him and I said, I need you. I need you to help me. I need you to support me. And he was really the catalyst that really helped me to get out of that. So I really do think, when I think about what were some pivotal moments, that was definitely one. But I also remember growing up and people saying that Santa Ana was a gang-infested city and that all these things were happening. But people just didn't focus on all the positivity that was happening there, too.
Can I ask a quick question? We had somebody else answer this. Other people have come in. If you could go back in a time machine, what would you say to your younger self? And if you said to your younger self, here's what you're going to become, would you have believed it back then?
Never. We talk about the imposter syndrome with the girls that we serve at Girls Inc. And I think at the time, being a girl who was being raised by a very traditional Mexican family that was not given a lot of freedoms, was a very strict family, I would have probably thought that I wasn't going to grow up to be a CEO.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because I remember growing up in Santa Ana those days, and I think a lot of our parents were like that with a lot of our sisters, with the women, right? I saw that with my sister. My dad was just very old school. She went to Santa Ana High School as well. So did my wife. They're all saints. And I went there my freshman year and eventually transferred to Century. But a lot of my friends, we grew up there and went to Lowell Elementary School and went to Santa Ana, that same group, because we all went to Lathrop Junior High. And so these are the roots of Santana, right? And Santa Ana, I know that has a long tradition of, I think it's over 100 and some years now, right? So I think part of it, when I was there, I got to see both Santa Ana compared to Century. Century had been the brand new school. So later in life, when people ask me, what did you see the difference? I said, I also think maybe because it was an older school, to your point right now of this counselor, maybe there was some people there that had been there a long time and they weren't as maybe motivated. Or when I went to Century, new school, it was just very different. I saw the difference in maybe being at a new school. But Santa Ana has this long tradition. It's a beautiful, I think, history there, right? And I'm glad to hear that he was a great mentor to you, right, Mr. Acuna?
Absolutely.
So the follow-up question is, today, supposedly the world has changed. Girls have opportunities they didn't have then. Is it still a problem? The girls that you serve, do they still think, I don't belong here? It's not for me. I can't do it? Are they still being held back by that kind of self-belief?
Great question. I think that as much as we want to believe that's not happening, I think it still happens in different situations, in different communities, and different families. But I think that with the more awareness and more education, I think that young girls are growing up understanding that they do have rights, that they have the opportunity to amplify their own voice and to use their own voice. But I think sometimes they need that push, that motivation, and they need somebody to believe in them, because a lot of times it might not be intentional by the families that the messaging is you need to stay at home, or maybe your brothers are going to go get an education and not you. So I think it just really varies. But I think that what we are always seeking to do is bring out the best in every young woman, whether we're working with them in kindergarten all the way through college or career. That is what part of our role is, to make sure that they understand what the possibilities are and the opportunities presented to them.
And to go back to the Santa Ana thing, it was just a different time. Right? These generations have evolved and changed. I think it was a few years back that I saw that there was a young lady from Santa Ana High School who, if I'm correct, was with Obama thing on TV, the president, right? She was from Santa Ana High School. She was a saint. Yeah. And she had academics at another level, right? And I remember me and my wife were there, my sister watching this on TV, and we're like, what? No way. She's from Santa Ana High School. She's the same. So Santa Ana High School has also evolved, right?
Absolutely.
Just like the city itself,
yes,
right?
And I want to say that overwhelmingly there are really great educators, really great administrators.
Of course, yeah.
I cite that example because it was a catalyst in my life.
Of course.
And what I hope is that it wasn't a blanket statement to every Latina girl that was 16 years old, right? But you're absolutely right. And that is, I think, what I really appreciate about having the opportunity to work with schools is you get to meet some amazing educators that are out there making a difference and really understanding the needs of their students. And we're there because we work in partnership with schools to really help them do their work. It's not about we're in this lane and you're here. We work collaboratively together.
And you went to work, is it for the city at one point, right?
Yeah, after graduating from Cal State Fullerton, I worked for the city.
You say that's nothing. Like, no, you went from Santa Ana High School to Cal State Fullerton. How did that happen?
And I have to the leap actually was I was a transfer student. I went to Santa Ana College.
Okay.
And because I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do at the time, I knew I wanted to help people. But I think that my experience at Santa Ana College was quite pivotal because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. And taking all those general ed classes and being introduced to a lot of different topics really helped me hone in my focus on what I wanted to do. And so I transferred 3.5 years later because I had to put myself through school. I worked full time. I went to school, but I was very proud to be able to go to Cal State Fullerton and graduate from there with a degree in criminal justice.
That's part of the story that I wanted to make sure we touched on because many people from that generation, I remember my brothers and sisters, a lot of them went to Santa Ana College. It's Santa Ana's local college, right?
Absolutely.
And it plays such a huge role in the city. To be honest, when I was growing up, I didn't even hear about Cal State Fullerton. The only place I had heard about was Santa Ana College, right? And so to hear that obviously people from Santa Ana like yourself went from Santa Ana High School to Santa Ana College, 3.5 years, and then transferred to Cal State Fullerton, that is an amazing story because you're from that area. You're from, I don't want to say that word, but the hood where we grew up.
Yeah.
But when we were growing up in the 80s and 90s, it was tough. Santa Ana was tough. And thank goodness, thank you to all the leaders, of course, and everybody making a huge impact. During those days, it was tough. Santa Ana was a tough place to live and grow up. I joke with my brothers the other day. We have a family group text. And one of our good friends who was our neighbor where we grew up there, her father passed away the other day, and we went to the funeral. And I happened to drive by our old house where we grew up. And I took a picture, and I sent it to my brother and my brothers and my sister. And I was like, oh, check out our old house where we grew up as kids in Santa Ana. And then I took a picture at the corner liquor store where all of us worked there as kids growing up. And I went down to the boys club. I was taking pictures of everything, right? That area where we grew up. And out of nowhere, my brother says to me, wow, look at the house we grew up. There's a Tesla parked in front of it. And the house has the, what do you call it? The energy.
Solar panels.
Solar panels. We're like, we never thought in a million years that the little house we grew up in Santa Ana would have a Tesla parked in front of it and solar panels. When we were growing up in the 80s and 90s, we were considered a low-income community there, right? And so it also shows you the value of the homes that have gone up. And then my sister ended up talking to our old neighbor for a while. She said that person not only brought that property, but brought several properties in the community. So what does that tell you? It's changed. It's for the better, right? People are coming in that drive
investing in our community,
right? Reinvesting. So that's good to see.
Absolutely,
right?
And I think that's why we're so proud to say we're Santaneros and we're proud of our city and defending it. Right? I felt in my college years when people would say, "Where did you grow up?" I felt like I was constantly defending my city.
Yes, true.
And many were like, "Oh, I can't wait to move out," and I was like, "And they're like, you still live there?" And I still do. So
yeah.
I think that's what I think is part of being proud of your roots, your upbringing. And what made us who we are now.
And such a great culture in Santana. Like the food, good pozole, good tacos, right? Like
any corner.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like you always find good food, right? Good entertainment. And that's beautiful that you went to Cal State Fullerton, because Cal State Fullerton does a lot with our chamber. Of course, they're one of our partners. And they also help a lot of our students that are part of our youth chamber. And so to see you now at Girls Inc., being the mentor, being the CEO, what's that been like for you to step into this? 25 years you've been there. That's congratulations. That's huge.
Thank you. I think the first thing is that every day is different and every year is different. But I think what keeps me motivated and passionate is that I see myself as those young girls that we're serving. I was from a low-income family. I was one of 7. So my mom was a stay-at-home mom. My dad worked a factory job to support 9 people. That's huge, right? And so the resiliency that I built, my brothers and sisters built, is what has made us successful today in our own right in all the different ways. But I see that in the girls that we serve, that many of them come from different walks of life. But when over 75% of the girls that we're serving are coming from low resource communities, we want to make sure that they also can be resilient, that we're teaching them the skills they need to make good choices, but that we're also exposing them to things that are going to help them be successful. So growing up, if I saw my dad had a factory job, we didn't have health insurance and all of those things, I didn't know what the possibilities were until I got older, until I started experiencing more things. So I think that's why in creating programs for girls that are going to help them achieve their goals is really important to me. And that's what I see. It's like, how else can we help them? How else can we give them the tools they need to be successful?
Let's go into some of those programs, because I know you have some great programs that you want to share. There's 3 major programs. So if you want to go into them, because I think they're different in different ways in how they serve and what they do for the young ladies, right?
Absolutely. So the first thing I'll say, preface it with, we do our work in partnerships with school districts and schools. We also have partnerships with other nonprofits and other community sites and centers. And then we also have some very robust summer programs. So our programs can be any one of those models. But when I talk about serving girls from kindergarten all the way through college and career, with our elementary girls, we provide a program called Smart Ups that we've been doing for over 20 years. It's the concept of a startup program. So girls learn everything about being business owners and how to start up their own business. They even get to build a mock society. And what we have done in the last couple of years is, at the culmination of that 4-week, very intense summer program, they actually have a Shark Tank that they have to present to sharks about
serious?
their business
That
model.
is very cool.
I can see you as a shark. We might have to talk about that.
It's funny you say
A
that.
new nickname for Johnny, the shark.
I love Shark Tank, by the way. We watch that religiously. It's a great show. So that is awesome that you're doing that.
I'm going to send you a link to a video.
Yes.
But that's what we do. So you're talking about 7 to 11-year-olds learning how to make a pitch to a potential investor.
That is great.
So it's a 4-week program. We're always looking for speakers, for companies to sponsor and get involved, and the coveted Sharks position. So we can talk about that. We also,
I love it. And not only me, but anybody viewing and listening and watching. This is such a great program that you can get involved. I love it. This is great.
When we're talking about about really significant partnerships. This is a program that we've been hosting the last couple of years at Santana College. Not only are the girls learning about business, but they're also spending 4 weeks of their summer on a college campus. They get to start seeing each other on a college campus. They get to tour. They get to really think about, oh, this could be a future place where I can come and get an education and get school. It's a great partnership there. Continuing on in the spectrum, we really do believe that starting early and talking about workforce development and career choices is really important. And so through our Girls Meet the Workforce program, we talk to girls early on about what do you want your potential career to be? How do you want to do that? And we give them all the skills, everything from A to Z, interviewing, resume building, personality styles. We do the Myers-Briggs. We bring in speakers from like Taco Bell, Allergan, and all these big companies from their HR department and talk to them about what are we looking for in our future workforce. So they start thinking about that. And then what we do is we partner with local businesses, small and large, to offer girls what we call an externship and during the summer. So the girls go through the program from February through the end of June. And then in July, they go to do an externship program that could be anywhere from 20 to 40 hours for the month. And they get to be mentored by different people in the community. It's pretty robust. And I'm really proud to say that it is a very coveted program. So we hope to be able to grow it in the next couple of years. But we've been placing over 150 girls every summer through this program. And we just opened up applications. So we have 150 spots. We have over 400 applicants. I don't know how we're going to say no to all those girls, but it really has to do with how many businesses can we get to sponsor girls, because that's the ultimate goal. The girls go through the program, they learn, they're committing every Saturday for 10 weeks. That's huge. And then the last one I'll say is our Project Accelerate program. So we work with girls elementary, middle, high school, but we also want to get them into college. Many of them are their first in their family to go to college.
It's true.
Which again resonates with me. Thankfully, I was the first to graduate from college, but not the last. So that's, pretty cool.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they need to see that, and they need to be the first in their family and then bring their family with them.
Yep.
But what we're doing is making sure that not only are they getting into college, but they're staying in college, they're graduating on time, and that they're getting those jobs upon graduation. So it is working with our business community to become mentors for our girls, to be coaches, and to eventually maybe offer them a paid internship during their senior year in college, and then eventually a job.
And many people that are watching or listening might say, because of whatever situation they're in, why do they offer all this? Don't these kids just want to go and do this in life? And a lot of people don't realize, and I'm one to say that I've spoken on the show before about this. I'm the youngest of 5, and when I wanted to go to college, I never forget, I wanted to go because my English teacher in high school was like, you're going to go to college and I'm going to help you fill out everything. And so when I got accepted to several schools, and then I decided I wanted to go to a rural area, which Chico State up in Northern California, I remember going home and telling my parents, and my dad was like, ¿Dónde es Chico State? Like, my dad was like, where is this Chico? And I was like, I want to go to college there. And when I said it's 13 hours away, they freaked out. And so a lot of parents, people don't realize, a lot of Hispanic parents fear that their kids are going to go away to college or they're going to do these things. And so I think it's great that there's programs like yours to prepare them at a young age, because not only are you preparing the students or the kids, but you're also preparing the parents.
Absolutely.
Part of it is educating them. So when that time comes and the transition comes to go wherever, Cal State Fullerton, UCI, wherever it is, the fear is not maybe at such a high level. I could see that in my parents, the fear of letting me go do this. And it put a lot of fear into me.
Right.
Because now I was going to college thinking I can't fail. If I do, I'm letting them down. And what I told them was all a lie, right? It's this...
No pressure,
right?
right?
No,
Yeah.
So the fact that you're doing all this at such a young age for them is huge.
Yeah.
Not only just for them, but for the family, for the parents, right?
And what you just said is key. And bringing parents along with us is really also really important. Typically, we only serve girls, but we have really started to develop parenting programs so that what does it mean to apply for financial aid, scholarships? How can you help them fund it so that it doesn't become so overwhelming as well? But it's also about empowering the parents to be educated and be resourceful on how they can support them. So it's not just about all like the logistical, like the applications and all of that, which, by the way, a lot of our fundraising efforts go to pay for college application fees because it is so expensive.
Oh, yeah. My wife and I just paid for my son's college application for Cal State Fullerton.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
It's pricey.
It's pricey. And it could be a lot more pricey in essence for a family who maybe like my dad growing up was a landscape worker, didn't make a lot of money. So that to him is an enormous amount of money, right? So, wow, that's great. So you guys help pay for that.
Absolutely. And all of our girls are going through our college grad lab program. And that's another program that we do. It's walking them through the A to Z of how to apply to college, how to do the research, and then also how to fund it. Because that's what we're committed to. We're not just going to spend all this money hyping you up to go to college, but how do you fund it? So for us, parent education is something that we're going to go into even more. And it's just about empowering them to be better guardians of their children.
Yeah. Paul, you had a question?
One comment and one question. I listened to it and I think, what a different world I grew up in. I grew up in middle-class suburbia back in the Midwest. Everybody was expected to go to college in my class. It was just expected. Where are you going to college?
Right.
And if I came back and said, I'm thinking, my parents would say, but you got to help us pay the rent, and you got to get a job, and we need the income. And what do you mean you're going away to do this? We need you here right now. That's a whole different experience. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, you have to look at it this way. You're going to add an expense to the home, right?
Sure.
As opposed to contribute to the home.
And maybe
expenses.
reduce some income because if you get a job and start contributing to the house. So here's my question then out of that. As is well documented in this show, my daughter was adopted from Mexico, came into this country illegally, fell into foster care. We found her and adopted her. And the struggle she still has is to think about tomorrow. She lives day by day because her whole life was surviving today. Am I going to eat? Am I going to get beat up? Am I going to get happen? So to tell her, where do you want to go in 5 years? She just gives you this blank look like, I can't even picture that. I want to make it the next 5 minutes. Is that still a problem for people to see into the future? You say, help them achieve their goals. What if they have no goals? They've never set a goal. They don't know how to create a goal for themselves.
I think the basis is also just looking at social emotional learning, right? They have to be in the right place mentally, physically, and just really think about that. So we help them address those situations first before they can start making goals. So that's why for us it is important to start with them young, but wherever they come into our programs, whether it's elementary, middle, high school, we are setting them up for success, showing them small bites of success so that they can increase their self-esteem, their motivation, and the way that they can do it by setting this goal and achieving it. These are the support systems. By hearing other women and men talk about, I was like you when I was growing up, and this is a success. And I know, John, you were asking me about this. I do carry that responsibility of being a mentor and a coach for a lot of young women, not only in Santa Ana, but throughout Orange County. But they do need to see role models. They do need to see others that have come out of difficult situations and have succeeded. And I think you just start bite by bite.
And that goes back to these young ladies, if they see you and you speak the same language as their parents and they see you as one of their tias or something, they feel that connection. I know that when I'm asked to speak at schools, coming into auditoriums, you could tell the kids are just out of it. So I always make a point at the beginning to say, my dad's from Jalisco and my mom's from Michoacan. And right away, I see some of them light up their eyes and their faces. Why? Because they hear familiar states of Mexico that their parents or grandparents are from. And now they feel that connection. Oh, wow, really? He's from... And so a lot of times it's just finding how you can connect so you build that trust. Because I know as a kid growing up in Santana, that was my thing that I look back now and I'm like, we had a hard time trusting people that were there to help us.
Right.
It was weird how that was. And I had a mentor in high school, Mr. Mike Sheldon, who gave me my first ever computer because I was writing a play in high school. That's how I got this Edward James Olmos scholarship.
You were writing a play in high school? How cool is that?
Yeah, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but the scholarship I won from Edward James Olmos was because I was able to write this play from this computer that this mentor of mine gave me. And this is looked a lot like Paul, tall, white man. And I remember when he came to my house, because he was referred to me by my English teacher, he pulled up to the house and my parents were like, ¿Quién es el americano? ¿Él es un policía? They were like, is he a cop? Did you get in trouble? Right away it was like, did you get in trouble? And it was like, no, this is the man that my English teacher referred to me. And when you look at us as kids growing up in Santana, we were fearful of certain people, right? Our parents were scared to open the door to the man at the door that was there to help me.
Right.
Bring me a computer, right? To help finish this play. And those are the fear factors that unfortunately we face as kids growing up in those, I don't know, communities, cultures, right? So the fact that you're working with them at a young age, I think is huge.
Give us some success stories as we start to run out of
Yes.
time.
Yeah, we definitely want to dispel those myths, and we want to really create the opportunity for parents to understand that we're there for the right reasons, and we're there to support them, not replace them. This is a
true.
support system, and
I love
think,
that.
And I think sometimes that's what could happen. I was a kid who I had my mom to go home to every day after school, so I was not involved in after school programs. So when I got older and I knew that I wanted to get involved, that was really difficult, right? Because it was like, why do you need to go there? Who's there? Whatever. So, we have so many success stories, but I think about some of the ways that we have really seen success come out of is we hear a lot of times like parents that say, when my daughter started Girls Inc., she was shy, quiet, didn't want to be there. I forced her to go to your summer camp. I this or whatever. And then the girl gets to tell her story and says, yeah, I was there. I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to invest my 4 weeks of summer here or whatever. But then, like, slowly meeting and making new friends, they just have really learned that this is a safe space. And I think that's what we try to create for the girls, a safe space where they can feel like they can be themselves, regardless of how different they are or not. But at the end of the day, the commonalities that bring them together are the situations that they're faced with, regardless of a socioeconomic stratosphere. Because honestly, a girl in Newport Beach and a girl in Santana are still dealing with body image issues, friend drama, all of the other things.
Things like bullying or whatever it may be, right?
It's universal.
Exactly.
So we want to be able to teach them those skills that are going to give them the resiliency to overcome and then look at bigger things. So we have girls that right now we are following our alumni. So we started an alumni program. We have girls that are doing their master's degree, that are in their doctorate program. We have a young lady who was from Costa Mesa and is now in her third year of dental school and is going to be a dentist. Just these amazing stories.
That's great.
That make us so proud about the work and the investment that we make and the investment that our community makes as well, too.
I think it's amazing the work that Girls Inc. is doing. For all of you that are tuning in or listening to us, definitely support Girls Inc. of Orange County. Can they go, obviously, to the website, right?
They can go to the website.
And learn more, which is Girls Inc. _OC.org. Okay. And get involved. They can either mentor, donate, support, right? Some way, somehow, support this great organization that's really building the young leaders of our community. That's the reality, right? They're the future of our community. And of course, tomorrow, depending on when you watch this show, we're having a mixer with Girls Inc., our Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and several other organizations. And that's really the goal of our chamber, as our community podcast show tries to feature not only great leaders like yourself and a great program and a great service that you're providing. We do these events so we can also be there to support them in any fundraising efforts, any support as far as events coming up. And so we invite anybody out there who views us and listens to us, come out and be part of our mixers.
What time, where, and what happens?
It'll be tomorrow from 5 to 7 p.m., if I'm correct.
Yes.
At your building, actually.
Yeah, 1801 East Edinger Avenue in Santa Ana. And on the building, it's Big Brothers Big Sisters building. As John said, there's 6 of us nonprofits that are housed out of that building, and we will be excited to host you there for our mixer.
And what happens at the mixer? Do I just get to mix? Do I meet the students?
You get to mix, you get to mingle, you get to hear and learn about all of our nonprofits, but also connect with other business-minded individuals. We'll have some raffles, we'll have some food, we'll have some drinks.
I like to call it's like a family reunion.
I've never heard it that way.
In business, because it's very fun, it's very friendly, and not only that, you're gonna learn a lot about the organizations and everything they got going on. Plus, you're going to meet some great people, some great leaders in the community. You're going to network and meet people, and that's really what it's about. That's not only what Girls Inc. is doing and Big Brothers and the other organizations. It's, how can we help each other out? How can we support each other? And who knows, maybe there's a job opportunity at our organization that one of these young ladies who wants to apply for, do an internship or something like that, right?
Absolutely.
That's part of why we do these events, right? So they learn about us, we learn about you, and that's really what the collaboration in the community is. I just want to point out that one of the words that I heard so many times on the show today that I just think I've been hearing it a lot actually recently, and that's resilience. And you said that word many times today, which is great because I've been hearing a lot of our kids need that today,
Yeah.
right? They need.
We're talking about fires ravaging Los Angeles.
Yeah.
How are we going to be resilient and rebuild and
Exactly.
return? And
Sure.
Yeah, both from young people to adults, right? The resilience of being able to come back and be strong and overcome these challenges. I think it's great that Girls Inc. is doing all of this. We wish you all success. I don't even want to say 25 years. Wow, that's pretty amazing. You've been there.
Yeah.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you're doing. Anything else you want to just point out before we go?
I just want to say thank you for this opportunity to really share out the work that we're doing. And not only have I been there 25 years, but the organization has been around for 70 years. And
70
so
years.
Last year, we celebrated our 70th anniversary, and we hope to continue to be in the community for a long time.
And you guys talk a lot about Santa Ana, but is the community bigger than that? Is it all of Orange
Absolutely.
County?
So Girls Inc. of Orange County. So we go as far as South County all the way to North County, and that's where we're at. And we're serving over 9,200 girls a year through our programs. Join us, be a mentor, volunteer. There's a lot of different ways to get involved. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Lucy Santana.
Let me tell you guys, Lucy's everywhere. I've seen her everywhere at all the events. Everybody knows her. You definitely want to connect with her and get involved with Girls Inc. because it's just such a great organization. And thank you again to the organization, its leaders, of course, your whole staff. It takes an army, right?
It sure does.
And thank you for all you do. We really appreciate it. All right, folks, we're running out of time. Paul Roberts, the producer, gave me the stinky eye like he always does.
I gave her an extra minute. This is a good story.
Thank you for tuning in, everybody, and we'll see you guys again next week, and hopefully make it to the mixer tomorrow.
Perfect.
Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you.
There you have it with the right music and everything here. One more reason to tune in each and every time to meet our community, the Hispanic business community, and those helping the Hispanic business community here in Orange County. Powered by the Orange County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio. Streaming live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center.